Good afternoon, everyone. As the central bank bubble bursts, looking across the landscape, down, 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 except food prices up and up. So much so, in Chile, the starving are clashing with police. The intersection of four long-term cycles, these are economic. But when it's the solar cycle on a 400-year or a multi-thousand-year cycle that affects our food, it's about the rise and fall of civilization. And do you understand this from the Economist right now after everything that's happened over the last 2 months? This didn't work to scare you, but the cycles are evident of warming and cooling. Maybe free energy will pop out of the genie's hat. Bank of America is predicting gold to nearly double to above $3,000 per ounce. And gold is often the most sought-after investment hedge to protect wealth during times of economic uncertainty. With never-ending printing by the Fed, we're fighting an uphill inflationary battle. With this much inflation on the way, only one investment stands out: gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee-for-life IRAs where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. This is one of the most famous magazine covers in history. The Economist magazine, get ready for a new world currency. Everybody was like, how is this phoenix going to rise from the ashes? How could there be a collapse in the global economy that would actually reset so much evaporated, completely melted economy back up and rise from the ashes? Well, these last 2 months have pretty much given you and me all the answers we need to see. Central bank bubble bursting. Same culprits at play here in 2008 and 9 crisis. Oh, give the people $1,200 so they don't look back at the big banks again. This time it is ferocious. This will go down as the biggest crash since the Roman Empire. It's beginning now. You're going to see it intensify, in my personal opinion. Housing starts. Of course, everybody's holding their money to get a cheaper piece of property. Down and down. This will definitely be below the 2008 and 9 starts as we get into the July numbers. Grocery costs jumping the most in 46 years here at home in the U.S. Beef prices have risen even higher than the all-time record price, up to above $4 now per pound. And look at the consumer prices. What's rising? What's falling? Food at home? Oh, energy's dropped. Yeah, that's because you're not driving a car going to work, nor are there airplanes traveling our skies any longer. But this is the wild card right here: food. If you cannot feed your people, as we have seen all throughout history, they become quite agitated. I'm going to say you're looking right here at the first instance of food shortages caused by the Grand Solar Minimum, masked by a lockdown. Looking back in history, this will be the flare point that sets off the scramble for food globally. And when we come into this year's harvest, which will be minimal, because continents across the Northern Hemisphere are not planting anywhere remotely close to where they should be by this time in the year. So I will ask you the same question that was posed in the article, which I link below in the description box. Imagine what will follow when these governments confront the cost of these lockdowns and are forced to cut services even further while raising taxes. You think it's only going to happen in Chile? Yeah, right. Starting first there, boomeranging back to us. American Streets 2021, right here. Early glimpse. Because when you see headlines like this from the budget office projecting a 38% drop in the GDP and another 2.1 trillion increase in the deficit, they can print. They can give you free money, but all it means is your dollar's worth less and it'll buy less in the future. Why do you think everything's rising in price? At least energy prices are decreasing, because if you had the double pinch point of high food and then high energy, oh, you'd be off your rocker right now. But what if there's other energy sources they're about to unveil as we go into this evaporation and a new building of a society, look back in the past. What does Nikola Tesla have to offer us that's been hidden in the cycles of time? And as we do move through the intersection of 4 long-term cycles, what you'll see is the 80-year war cycle from 1861, 1941, and boom, what would that be, 2021? Yeah, right on schedule. How about the credit bubble contraction cycle, price inflation, and then the demographic cycle? This is called the fourth turning, what you're looking at here. Just like cycles in history and our climate, that you're not supposed to see that 1930s warming spike. The scare tactics didn't work enough. The global major hurricane frequency we told would be up and up and up. And here we sit. The last 40 years, do you see anything completely out of bounds there? But what if this entire smoke and mirrors that we're seeing out, contraction of the economy, lockdown of the entire planet, is because there's now an excuse why there won't be enough food this year versus this 400-year cycle in the sun that's been decreasing crops for the last 3 years in a row anyway. This would be the rollover point, the rollover year, where a good percentage of the world's populace would have known that something's wrong with the food. Now there can be many excuses why it's happening. Supply chain broke down. It's the bug. No planting going on in the northern hemisphere. It's the bug. Prices, inflation, everybody out of work. It's the bug. Maybe it's a grand solar minimum. And when we look at this very short 400-year cycle that's wiping out crop yields, what if we go back 5,000 years in time and look at the ebb and flow, the rise and fall of civilizations? We're on the right side, modern warm period, dropping off into another cool. The collapse is here, whether it was the bug. The central bank printing makes sense as so much money was printed for elite to get ready, knowing this cycle is repeating and returning at this time. Everything would constrict to zero anyway, and a bottleneck in world population. So, hey, raid the wine cellar and have the serfs pick up the check. This was cleverly planned. I talk more about this on my Patreon channel and subjects I cannot discuss here. It's all about access to the food, controlling the unrest as it happens across the planet. Chile is the first of what is about to sweep around our globe. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. All the links are in the description box below for tonight's images and stories. And I'll see you next video.